Hey guys, it's Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and today we are going to be starting a new show. This is not Doctor Who, we are watching Good Omens. Dad, what is this?
I have no idea. I just saw that it was something with David Tennant, and that it was basically, Armageddon, end of the world.
Yeah.
And it looked interesting, so I mentioned it that maybe we'd want to watch it, and here we are.
Yeah, that's basically the basis of this, and yeah, nothing to recap, nothing to really say. We just sort of go right into it. But to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way, this is the first episode of the season, which means that you can watch our full-length reaction for free. You go down to the description of this video or to the pinned comment, you can find our full-length reaction, and it won't have any show footage. You got to bring your own show footage unless you just want to listen. You can probably hear the episode in the background, but I wouldn't recommend that. That's weird. So you can sync up your footage to our footage. It'll be all nice and good. You just get to see us be silent for 10 minutes until we say something clever. And if you like that, you can head over to my Patreon and sign up for full length if you really like that. But only if you like that, and really only if you can afford that. Make your choices wisely. Also, because this is, coming out so recently, like this, it hasn't even been a week since the season came out. This has gone up to YouTube first, and if you want to, right now, you can head over to my Patreon, and you can find episode 2 already up on early access, assuming that I've already edited it. So I'm really gonna have to get to work on that. But, yeah, you can head over there. You can check that out. If you sign up for Early Access, you can watch our reaction to Episode 2. You can also, if you sign up for full length, you can get the full length on that Episode 2. But, yeah, that's pretty much that. I guess we'll just get into this. Here we go. Did you have something else you wanted to say?
I was just going to say if they haven't noticed, the seasons have obviously changed because I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I don't change.
Here in Oklahoma, we went from late winter to early summer. Our spring has been very unusual. Yeah. We had 16 days in a row with tornadoes in the state.
Yeah.
We have already had about 5 times more tornadoes just in May than in all of 2018. So
yeah.
This has been a very odd summer, or odd spring so far. Lots of rain, lots of very high winds and tornadoes. So,
and now that it's June, it's just humid, and it sucks. But I refuse to change into anything other than what I wear.
Archbishop James Ussher claimed that the heaven and the earth were created on Sunday the 21st of October, 4004 BC at 9 a.m.
That's very specific.
Yes. But was that daylight savings time?
It was created at 9:13 in the morning, which was correct. The whole business with the fossilized dinosaur skeletons was a joke the paleontologists haven't seen yet. This proves 2 things. Help could come from an unexpected quarter. This was perfectly correct on every count, except for the bit about the salads. To understand the significance of what that means, the Garden of Eden, and with an apple.
That's the English translation. Since apples don't grow in that medieval area, it was more likely a pomegranate.
Oh, that went down like a lead balloon. So what was that?
That's how the group Led Zeppelin got their name.
Yeah.
The first time they played, they said that they were very bad. Went over like a Led Zeppelin.
It mustn't be bad. It's all part of the great plan. It's not for us to understand. It's ineffable.
The great plan's ineffable.
Exactly. It is beyond understanding. Gave it away.
You what?
I gave it away. There are vicious animals. It's going to be cold out there, and she's expecting already. And I said, here you go, flaming sword, don't hang me. And don't let the sun go down on you.
I was wondering where they got that.
I do hope I didn't
There's a wonderful old Jewish proverb that says, if I could understand God, I would be God.
Yeah.
But the nice and accurate prophecies of Agnes Nutter, witch.
I don't know that I've seen Michael Sheen before.
Oh.
Call box.
I've tempted a priest. As he walked down the street, he saw all the pretty girls in the sun. I put doubt into his mind. He would have been a saint. Now, within a decade, we shall have him.
Nice one.
I have corrupted a politician. The moment we've been working for all these centuries is at hand.
Centuries.
Our moment of eternal triumph awaits.
Triumph.
And you will be a tool of that glorious destiny.
Glorious. Tool.
Ciao. What's that mean? Ciao. It's Italian. It means food.
Crowley was all in favor of Armageddon in general terms.
And give her back our master's child. Everything is ready. Tonight, it begins. Sister Mary Loquacious.
Excuse me, Mother Superior. I was wondering...
Master Crowley is on his way with our Dark Lord-to-be, Sister Mary. We do not need to know more than that.
Have you ever seen the film The Omen?
No.
That's what this is a parody of.
And
Okay.
tonight, you could make sure there are biscuits, the kind with pink icing. I think we had a tin in the convent larder.
Biscuits is the British version of cookies.
Now, they're bringing in this important woman who's having a baby, but there's also the other car we saw. Is that going to be the mix-up?
Maybe.
You've left your lights on. Oh.
I was going to say, he always does that.
Is it infrared?
Has it started yet?
They made me go out.
Any idea how long we've got?
Well, I think we were getting on with it, Doctor.
Got it. What room's she in?
We're in room 3.
Room 3. Got
Oh, no.
There's a trick they do with 3 playing cards.
This father of a male boy son is all yours, Mr. President.
Sister Mary, on the other hand, had thought that Sister Teresa's wink was more on the lines of,
Well done, that Sister Mary. Switched over the babies all by herself. Now, indicate to me the superfluous child, and I shall remove it and let you get on with your tea with His Royal Excellency, the American Ambassador. Extra baby removal.
Well, we were going to name him Thaddeus, after his dad and his dad's dad.
Damien's an excellent.
Damien Dowling? Too alliterative.
Warlock, then. It's an old English name. A good name.
Hello, Warlock.
Handed it over.
An American diplomat? Really? As if Armageddon were a cinematographic show you wish to sell in as many countries as possible.
Earth and all the kingdoms thereof.
We will win, of course.
And in the original film Omen, the kid is named Damien. Damien Thorne.
Triumph over hell. You are a demon. We're hereditary enemies. Get thee behind me, foul fiend. After you.
That night, Arthur and Deirdre
Everybody turning into Bully Bully Right, fish stew. Anyway, it's not their fault. And that's same with gorillas.
dialogue
They say,
is
like,
brilliant.
I have heard rumours that your boss really loves the sound of music. Fancy spending eternity watching that? Could literally climb every mountain over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
I don't
I've
like
been in The
it
Sound of
more than
Music.
usual, but I'm going to sober up.
Yeah, me too.
Harriet Dowling took baby.
We do it right, he won't be evil. All good. He'll just be normal.
It might work. Godfather. Well, I'll be damned.
It's not that bad when you get used to it.
Oh, that's why I said 11 years ago.
What you're doing is praiseworthy, but obviously doomed to failure. Still, as the Almighty likes to say, climb every mountain.
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence.
Every stream.
Those are all lines from The Sound of Music. Present day, Monday.
6 days.
It's the start of it all. The boys meant to name it, Stalks by Night, Throat Rip or something like that. But, if you and I have done our job properly, then he'll send it away unnamed.
What if he does name it?
Then you and I have lost, he'll have all his powers, and Armageddon will be days away.
In fact, I could entertain.
No, please no.
I just need to get back into practice.
Oh, no, don't do your magic act. Please, I'm actually begging you. You've no idea how demeaning that is. Please.
In The Omen, Damien is the son of the American ambassador to England.
It was all a bit of a disaster, I'm afraid.
I was kind of wondering why if he was American, why are there a bunch of other British kids?
Say. Oh, no, I see him now. Yes, what a lovely big hellhound. Yes, okay, great talking to you.
No dog.
No dog.
Wrong boy.
Wrong boy.
The right boy was playing in the woods with his
Took
friends.
11 years to
After
find
all,
out.
It was his birthday. Adam.
I don't want a big dog. I want a kind of dog you can have fun with. A little dog. I think I'll call him Dog. Saves a lot of trouble in a name like that.
And what? This dog's just gonna turn up?
Maybe.
Armageddon is days away, and we've lost the Antichrist. Why would the powers of hell have to drag me into this anyway? Wherever he is, that's the dog. He's named it. It's done. He's coming into his power. We're doomed. Well then, welcome to the end times.
That's it. Oh boy. Alrighty. That was definitely interesting.
All right, well, the first thing, I guess not the first thing, but one of the things that you would need to do now is to go back and watch the film of The Omen.
All right.
Don't watch the 2 sequels. They're horrible.
Okay.
The book, I'm a teacher. The book is even better. It would have come out in the late 70s, I think.
All right.
Again, brilliant film, even better book, but literally everything that you've seen, minus the demons, is exactly the way that the original Omen goes. The baby is switched at birth, given to the family of the ambassador, the American ambassador to England. A reporter finds out the whole story, tries to tell the father. The father then comes to realize that his son may in fact be the Antichrist. He starts to take steps to figure out how to deal with that. The boy gets the dog. The boy and the dog kill the mother. They kidnap the boy and take him into a church. They're going to try to stab him with sacred knives. I mean, it's a really, really chilling story. And this has completely turned it on its head and made it into a comedy. We lost the boy. That Just that simple sentence says everything that you need to know. We lost the boy.
So it's that they were supposed to just switch it with the ambassador's actual baby.
Yes.
But this time, instead of doing that, they gave it to the wrong family.
Yes, they gave it to just an ordinary British family.
And that's how it's all been.
Yes.
Everything's gone to hell. All right.
So to speak.
All right.
But seriously, I don't know who. I guess Neil Gaiman, or Gaiman, I don't know how to pronounce his name, wrote the screenplay for this. The dialogue is brilliant. It's head and shoulders above anything that I've seen recently. I love the fact that they've kept it in Great Britain, simply because the humor has to be downplayed. I think if this were done by if they had put it in Washington, D.C., it would have been over the top. It wouldn't go off as well. The fact that these two guys, the angel and the demon, are underplaying it so much is what makes it hysterically funny.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I got some notes here. This whole first episode was basically, setting up the rest of the season. And so not only did we see the 11 years building up to where we are now, but we also went all the way back to the very beginning.
Yes.
In the beginning, when I guess Crowley was the one that tempted Adam and Eve, and then they went off.
Yeah. I was going to say something. The good guy giving Adam and Eve the flaming sword, which of course was actually meant an angel was supposed to sit there at the entrance to the Garden of Eden with a flaming sword to keep them out. But that also, you want to talk about brilliant, obscure historical references. That basically harkens back to the story of Prometheus, when the Greek gods had fire and refused to give it to the people, and Prometheus said, but mankind needs fire, so I'm going to take it to them, and then he is punished eternally for that. Yeah. Just the quality of writing on this, now, aside from the acting in this, which is brilliant, the quality of writing is just astounding.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because when you don't know that, when you don't know the angel that had the flaming sword to keep them out, and you don't even think about Prometheus, it was sort of odd just watching. It's like, well, I gave them a flaming sword, and it's like, why do you have a flaming sword? What did you possibly need that for? And the fact that it was flaming too, it's like you could have just given them a sword or anything. It's like, oh well, they need to protect themselves, but it was specifically a flaming sword so that they have protection, so that they have this fire. If you go the Prometheus angle, it's like, I was like, man, that is very specific. So, and then we had the whole switcheroo with the baby. I like that every time they talk about him, with the exception, like towards the end, Crowley was just saying, we lost the Antichrist and stuff. But for the most part, I guess the really devout ones, they named off every single one of his titles. It was ridiculous. Yeah. I was like, this is turning into Game of Thrones. You have to list everything that they're called. So yeah, but even for a while, none of them really called him just the Antichrist.
Yeah.
I think it was really just Crowley that did that, and for the most part, they called him the Adversary, which was an interesting name.
Well, that's what, if I recall correctly, Satan in the original Hebrew language is like the accuser, but is also supposed to be the adversary to God. Yeah. Basically saying, we will tempt mankind with all of this evil to test whether or not people will do what God tells them to do, or whether they will commit sin. Yeah. So, just the level of historical and religious knowledge in this is just outstanding.
Yeah. Now,
and by the way, speaking of names, the nuns, Sister Mary Loquacious, and they talk about the fact that they all have these names which essentially mean they talk too much. Seriously, this deserves some kind of Emmy Award, or if they ever were to release it beyond television, just for the writing. For that reason alone, it's just, I mean, there's not a detail that they seem to have missed, as far as I can tell so far.
And this is just the first episode.
Yeah, this is just the first episode. Let's hope that they keep this up.
Yeah. Now, it is interesting. We did kind of just sort of forget about the third baby. Just like, okay, well, we got the adversary. He's with the nice British family, accidentally. We got Warlock. Which, that's just silly. But we got Warlock, right? He's with the American ambassador. And it's like, and then they kind of mentioned the third one. It's like, well, it's nice to believe that it grew up, became a nice guy, was very successful. And it's like, we could believe that. Moving on, and it's like, all right, but not important. Like,
it would be interesting though if somewhere down the line he does come back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he comes back. He's the key to saving the day, or something, or he just comes back. He's a cameo or something.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it would be hard to tell who he is because we don't know where he ended up. We don't know what name he had. So it's like, unless they specifically say or they recognize him somehow.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not going to work. 'Cause, I mean, the nuns aren't going to recognize him because they're dead. So, and I like when they were going over their battle plans. Like, okay, here's what we're going to do when Crowley shows up. We have the mother, take the baby, we give her this one. And it's just a little baby just with horns on it. And it's like, that we had to come up with this entire thing. It looked like these pieces are made of wood. It's like we had to take 20 minutes to make all this stuff, but it's okay. We all have our battle strategy. Everyone has their roles. You go get biscuits. We'll all be good. And
I love that they explained, because they thought the Englishman was the American ambassador. They had to explain to him that biscuits are cookies, and he went, well, yes, I call them biscuits too. And they looked, I mean, they should have known. They had every possible sign to know that this was the wrong family to give the child to, but they were so concentrating on what they were supposed to do that they missed all those signs, which is the perfect setup.
And that's the other thing too, because it does seem so obvious. We're supposed to be giving this to the American ambassador, and then we go over to these two who are clearly British people, and it's like that. You just have to listen to them, and you can tell. So,
well, again, it all because the nun who was told, you're such an idiot, you have to stay out of all this, you just go get the cookies, then she accidentally runs into Crowley and says all that she's heard is, because she didn't know the British family came in and just heard that they were going to room 3. She tells him accidentally they're in room 3. He says, here's the baby. Yeah. She says to the other nun, take the baby to room 3. So, I mean, it's all just perfectly set up because everybody was following directions and not watching what was actually going on around them.
Yeah, that's true. And it's interesting. It's interesting that once this is all going down, and Crowley seemed to be very reluctant to take the baby, which even still seems like it's a little odd. It's like, okay, we're specifically giving this to you so that you can drive it to a hospital and just give it. And it's like, okay, that's a simple task, but he was very reluctant to do that. And he really just does not want Armageddon to happen.
Yeah, he's enjoying being the guy who screws everything up.
Well, yeah, because it also seems to be that these two, Crowley and we'll learn his name next episode. The angel. The two of them seem to specifically be like they are on Earth all the time. That's what they do. Occasionally they go back to where they're supposed to be to give reports, but other than that, they've been here since the beginning. The serpent and the angel have always been here, and that's just, they just chill. So it's like, I don't know, it is interesting that he just enjoys being on Earth so much that he wants to prevent Armageddon.
Again, there's that perfect little almost throwaway clip where he says, where do you want to go? And he says, let's go back to 1793. And the good angel says, I want to go to Paris because I enjoy the crepes, the food. And the bad angel says, I want to go because that was the reign of terror. So they both have the same point in time, but they have completely different memories of what happened. One guy says, I love the food. The other guy says, I love, the beheadings, the guillotine. So
yeah, that's true. And I guess, you think about it, it's like all these demons that are in hell, they want the Armageddon to happen. I mean, Crowley probably also doesn't want it just because he probably doesn't want to share the earth. If Armageddon's happening, he's just left with a bunch of his coworkers that he may not even like, and it's like, well, I'm having fun all by myself watching all the terror on Earth. Whereas all of this is happening, no one in heaven is actually actively trying to do something to stop this whole Armageddon thing, and only through this sort of loophole that they came up with, it's like, well, Crowley's like, okay, I'm going to have to, I'm tasked with sort of watching over the child and making sure he, grows up to be evil and fulfill his purpose. So you need to stop me from doing that. And that's his loophole. It's like, okay, well then I can sort of team up with you and help and try to stop Armageddon. But it's like, why is it that in all 11 years, no one has really tried to do any of this? And the most they see is just, well, it's going to happen. Armageddon's going to happen. You're going to fail. This is a hopeless task, but good luck with that. You can do this, climb every mountain and stuff like that.
Oh, Lord, I cannot imagine the eternal torment of having to listen to the sound of music for all eternity.
Maybe that's why none of them are caring. It's like, well, if the Earth goes, we've got Sound of Music. We'll just watch it forever. And,
this is... I mean, seriously, I mentioned it before, but not since Douglas Adams have I seen or read or heard dialogue that is so incredibly knowledgeable and yet funny at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if non-history majors like Alex and I would get a lot of these references, but I would think that even with a very general knowledge of either history and or religion, that even the average person would be able to get this. I would love to see what kind of ratings this is getting, what kind of reaction it's getting online from critics and things like that. But I think it's brilliant so far.
Right. Well, and it's also the interesting thing, too, because, we're saying, it's like, okay, we can get a lot of this stuff because we've studied history and stuff like that, but at the same time, I haven't seen The Omen and stuff like that. I don't know. So I feel like I don't know half of these references. They're still funny, but you're busting out laughing the entire time. So yeah.
Well, yeah. Now there's something for those if you've made it this far. If you have not seen The Omen, you might want to go back before you see episode 2 and either see the movie, and again, skip the 2 sequels. They are horrible. They are just dreadful. But the first one is really, really good. Or read the book and then come back and pick up, and you'll get so many more layers of depth in this production.
Interesting.
Especially the music. There's some really good music. There's a really strange piece called Ave Satani, which is, you notice when they greeted each other, they said, "Hail Satan." There is this wonderful piece that has become iconic whenever you need, bad things to happen in movies or in things. They always play excerpts of that, but you should go on YouTube and listen to Ave Satani. It's really, really good. Very chilling.
Interesting. Now, the next question I would sort of have, why does he specifically need to be 11 to unlock his powers?
Again, that's a reference to The Omen. That's when young Damien becomes aware of who he is. Now, they haven't done this. This is the one visual that they haven't done yet. In The Omen, the way that they know that Damien is the Antichrist is that he has a birthmark under his hair that looks like 3 6s. Which, again, in the book of Revelations, 666 is the mark of the beast.
Right.
Now, they haven't referenced that yet, but I'm sure at some point in the next episode or two, they're going to be you're frantically looking through Warlock's hair and going, he doesn't have it. We lost the kid. Where's the kid with the 666?
They both do have long hair, so they could easily go for that. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It's like, okay, we're specifically waiting until he's 11, and on that day, we'll send him a dog, and if he names the dog, then he gets all these powers. And it's like, and I also thought it was interesting, like, all of this is specifically if he accepts the Hellhound, which is interesting. And then And then we see the Hellhound, and I like too, it's sort of listening beforehand. It doesn't just go up and it's just a giant dog that's evil and stuff. It's sort of listening to what he wants, and it's like, okay, I just want, a nice dog that I can play with and stuff like that. It's not something not too big, just sort of small. And the Hellhound is like, okay. And it's like, and I would name it Dog. And, we had that whole narration of like, naming it. This is giving it its name will give it its purpose and its identity and everything. It's like dog, and it just becomes a dog. And it's like, so does the dog have its powers then? Or
that's one of the things we'll see. Now, again, that's just a complete ripoff of the Omen, although, if I recall correctly, in the movie, he gets 2 dogs, and they are, as mentioned in the first episode here, they're both Rottweilers. I mean, they're killer dogs.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing, too, when it showed up. I was like, that's a weird choice of dog, in its giant form, even. And it's like, I figured it would be sort of like Cerberus or something. It'd just be completely black, and I expected 3 heads, but it's like, all right, it's just a giant dog, and it's like, well, then you could have gone with anything. It's like you could have had a giant beagle or something, and it's like, well, that would be, that's weird. And it's like, if it was a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd or something like that, it's like
you expect it to be a killer, and instead he ends up with what appears to be like a collie or a Shetland or something.
And that's just the general size it had anyway. Like, that's what it looked like when it was huge. So yeah, that was just interesting. That it's like, okay, yes, we could have this giant dog look incredibly evil, but it's just going to look like a normal dog just with teeth, the crazy teeth, and then it shrinks down once it's been named. And now honestly, it's just a dog. So we'll see what happens with the dog, and honestly everything, because now they got a lot of stuff they need to clean up. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You got anything else?
No, I'm waiting for the next one. All
right, well, because the next episode is currently up on early access, that means we got to film it now. So, we'll move right along to the next episode. With all that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of our Good Omens reactions, you can click on the playlist. You can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.